Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I'm back, feeling a bit better, not 100%. I don't really have much to say, except I've had an ongoing abdominal pain issue going on since the summer, and have had a number of tests done and didn't show anything, and just waiting to get into a gastroenterologist. The wait for an appointment is kind of long. So sometimes I feel pretty good. It's always there, but sometimes I feel pretty good, and other times it kind of gets pretty severe for a few days. So it is what it is, and I'm dealing with it and just trying to be patient and keep on plugging away. But it's been nearly 2 weeks since I've been on a Facebook Live, so it feels good to be back and to be sharing. 2 weeks ago, or week and a half ago, not this past weekend, but the weekend prior, I had my October Creative Escape weekend in Cincinnati. It went wonderfully, and just had a lot of fun, great sharing. We also always do a charity raffle at my Creative Escape weekends, and this one benefited the Beads for Courage for children going through severe illnesses in various children's hospitals around the country. And together, 47 of us raised over $1,800. So I'm very proud to be a part of that. And I'm very grateful that my customers and Creative Escape Weekend participants contribute to that in such a big way. We all, those of us attending, all donate the raffle prizes. We don't ask for outside help, but we come together and donate prizes. And then the same people turn around and buy tickets to support the cause and hopefully win some prizes. So highly successful, lots of fun. And I already have registration open for my January weekend in Cincinnati, and it is just about 75% full after just about, I think, 10 days of registration being open. So I'm super excited about that. Lots of good things to look forward to. Today, I'm going to be making 3 cards with you. It's basically the same technique, but I'll show you how to use that and make 3 different cards. And the main product for those cards, for this technique, is going to be the wonderful Snowflakes package. And this is something my Creative Escape participants received as part of their make and take packet, along with some other great Stampin' Up! Products and projects for them to do on the weekend. So I'm going to flip my camera around now. And when I do that, I would be very grateful if you would share this Facebook Live and invite others to join with us. And thanks to those of you who did share. I appreciate it. Good morning once again, and welcome to Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. I have a fun project for you today. The main product being featured in today's Facebook Live is our wonderful Snowflakes. These come in a package of 24. There are 6 to a sheet, and I just want to show you how easily these are to punch out. Yes, they're kind of delicate, but they're also pretty strong, that I can just pull them out this quickly and this easily. And I'm going to pull out 3 to start today's project. And I chose the color Balmy Blue to use. I'm going to make 3 cards with you, and then afterwards I'll show you 3 of the same cards in a different color. For this technique, you do want to have some kind of scrap paper, or I'm using a piece of cardboard. And I'm going to start, first of all, with a piece of white cardstock measuring 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And then I'm going to adhere these 3 wonderful snowflakes to my card front. If there's any of these little tiny bits of paper stuck in there, if you can get them out, that's great. They're real tiny, so if you miss 1 or 2, it's not a huge deal. Like here's a little bit larger one, and I want to make sure I remove that. We're actually going to be using these snowflakes, kind of like stencils. And we're going to be using I'm going to be using my blending brush. The first thing I'm going to do is put some adhesive on the back side of 2 of my snowflakes. And when I say back side, the front side is kind of shiny and iridescent, and the back side is a matte white finish. So on 2 of these, I'm putting the snowflakes on so that they are face up, the fancier side up. So in other words, the shiny side up. Can you see that? The shiny iridescent side is facing up. On the third one, I'm actually going to be doing the opposite. I'm going to use the back side for the front. So I'm putting, for this third one, I'm putting a little bit of adhesive right in the center of the shiny side of my wonderful snowflake, and I'm going to press that down. So once again, just a tiny bit, very tiny bit of adhesive on just the center of the snowflakes. 2 of them I have facing up with the shiny side up, and 1 I'm using with shiny side down, matte side up. And you'll see why in a few moments. You also want to keep in mind when you're adding that tiny bit of adhesive, it needs to be something that you can pull up fairly easily, okay? So that's why I chose to use my Stampin' seal. If you have what do I want to call it? Not temporary adhesive, is that the right word? Something like this you don't want to use because it's harder to pull that up. The Seal Plus you don't want to use. That's too strong. So just a mild adhesive in a teeny tiny bit so you can pull these snowflakes up, because we're going to be using them in other ways afterwards. So now I've got my Balmy Blue ink pad and 1 of my blending brushes. I'm just going to pick up some ink here. And then I'm just going to start adding ink over these snowflakes. I'm just swirling that ink over. I can even push it out from the center of the snowflake. The snowflakes are very fine, so if they move around a bit, just hold them in place with your fingers. And I'm going to go over the third one now. Now remember, this is the one where we put shiny side down and matte side up, just on that third one. Let me get a little bit closer. Good to see. Is that a little better as far as seeing? And I'm going to go over this really well. Now, because this third one, I have the matte side up, you can see that it is taking up the ink just like the white cardstock. And that's great. On the ones that have the shiny side up, that shiny side is resisting the ink. And that's great too, because we're going to use those in a different way. And then I filled in some of those other white spaces with the balmy blue ink by blending some more ink in there. Now I went pretty strong on my ink. If you wanted to do a lighter shade, kind of go off, do some of that blending on your scrap paper, and then go to your cardstock. But I made mine pretty bold. So it's really just a matter of an opinion or your own preference, which way you go, heavier or lighter. And now I'm just going to very gently pull off these snowflakes. Remember, I had just that teeny tiny bit of adhesive in the center of the snowflake. I'm going to keep that one there. Now, if you have any residual adhesive, like I do here, use your finger to rub that off, or you can use an adhesive remover. This is something Stampin' Up! Used to sell, but we don't now, but you can find it on Amazon. It's simply called rubber adhesive remover. And look how pretty that is, all by itself. But let's put that on a card base and jazz it up a bit. I have a piece of white cardstock that measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches for the inside of my card. And now I'm going to pull in a pretty ribbon, and I thought that this would be pretty on there. In fact, it doesn't really have a front and a back, but you can see the glitter on both sides. Some of that glitter is kind of a greenish blue, and some of it is kind of a pink. And really either side works well. I just kind of flip it over, and for this, you know, if I were using pink, I would choose a side that had a little more pink showing. I think this side has a little more of the blue showing, so that's what I'm going to have facing up. Whoops. Come on. And you know my trick for adding ribbons there. Make sure I got the right side I want. Yes, okay. So I put some adhesive on the back, and I just pull the ends of my ribbon to the back side so they catch on that little bit of adhesive. Oops, not quite straight. Let me play with that a bit more. There we go, that's better. And I'm going to put this on the front of my card. Oh, very pretty. I think it's pretty just like that. But like I said, I'm going to show you 3 different ways or 3 different cards to make using this one technique. The next thing I have is a piece of a circle, 2-inch circle that I've already cut from the, oh, what is it called? Silver specialty foil, I think. Silver foil specialty pack. And this is that one, can you see this, that it's like a brushed metallic? Can you see those lines in it? But this is the pack that has basically 3 silver shades in it, or 3 shades of silver. Okay, so we've got the traditional and a light brushing on it. We've got a darker with a heavier brush look, and then we have this matte silver. Both of these to me take on a little bit of a purple violet color. So it's fun to mix and match that with other colors. Oh, Jen, I just peeked up and, or Lynn, I just peeked up and looked at my comments, and you're waiting for a new granddaughter. How exciting. I can't wait to hear it. Maybe by the time our Facebook Live is over, you'll get the call. So I went ahead and punched a 2-inch circle. I'm going to use one of the snowflakes that I just used for a stencil, and I'm going to add this to it. And then I'm going to stamp Let It Snow. And this comes from the Encircled in Warmth designers, or what am I saying? I got so excited about the new grandbaby. It's not even mine. Look how excited I am. I can't hardly think anymore. Anyways, I guess because I'm a little envious. I'm so excited for you, but I can't wait to be a grandma someday. Anyways, this comes from the Encircled in Warmth stamp set from the holiday catalog. So I'm going to stamp with Balmy Blue ink on Balmy Blue cardstock, and I'm going to use my 1.5-inch circle punch. I know this is retired, but I know many of you also own the circle punches. So I'm using my circle punch. If you don't have the circle punches, we have a fabulous set of layering circle framelets or dies that you can use. I'm going to pop this up with a couple of dimensionals. Whoops. There we go. And I will add this to the center. And then I'm going to pop up this whole thing with a few more dimensionals and add it to my card front. One thing I did, and here's a tip, because many of you have asked about mailing when there are several layers. Your cards are fine as long as they are less than 1/4 inch thick. So one thing I do is if I'm layering with dimensionals on top of dimensionals, what I like to do is scoot those dimensionals over. So on the small circle, my dimensionals are towards the center of that large circle, and on the larger circle, I push them to the outside. That way I don't have one dimensional right on top of the other. They're offset, and it cuts down on the bulk for your cards. I'm just going to add that in this corner, and there's my card. Cute, right? If you want to add some Wink of Stella to these tiny snowflakes, you can do that. You can add embellishments, rhinestones, all kinds of things. And I'm just going to go over those letters quickly with my Wink of Stella. And that gives both the letters and those tiny snowflakes some shimmer. I'm not sure how well you can see that on the film. So there's the first card. So let's move on and do another. This time, I've cut my cardstock a little bit differently. Again, I'm using Balmy Blue. I have a piece of cardstock, make sure I get the right one, that measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches for the inside of my card. It's always good to add a white layer to your card, to the inside of your card. It just makes writing, reading your writing and doing your writing much easier to read, okay? Both for you as you're writing your message and for the recipient as they're reading your note. And then, and I'm going to do a vertical card on this one. And to remember, I'm even going to turn my scrap the same direction so I remember. I'm going to start the same way with adding, there's a little adhesive on here, with adding 3 wonderful snowflakes. Oh, it has some pink on it from earlier. And watch your fingers, because you might still have some of that ink on the outer snowflake on the shiny side. And what you can do for that is just take a little tissue and gently go over that. And then you can go ahead and use it again, okay? And to look here. Okay, and I'm going to do one more. Now, I could actually reuse this one that I had, the one that was facing up. Do you remember that? 2 of the snowflakes have the shiny side up, and 1 has the shiny side down with the matte side showing. I'm going to scoot this one a little. And now I'm just going to do the very same thing. Blend some pretty balmy blue ink on this white cardstock using the wonderful snowflakes, like stencils. Oh, that is my finger glue, I guess. You can see some of those snowflake ends trying to lift up. If they do that, just press them down with your finger. Remember, if you want a lighter shade of the ink, put less ink on the blending brush, and then also blend off some of that ink on your scrap paper. This is a super easy technique. Anybody can do this. Don't have to worry about having a lot of experience. It's definitely one of those techniques that everybody will feel successful at. So it's great for newbies as well as experienced people. And also great for doing with children, or maybe somebody that's elderly and this is easy for them to hold and maneuver. Maybe even more so than a, what do I want to say, a stamp itself. Oh, I see more people jumping on. A few of you are watching from work. Your secret's safe with me, though. Yes, and different effects for everyone. That is absolutely right, Marion. We all have a different touch, and we all have different preferences as far as more or less ink. Do that. Whoops. Actually, I should probably go up a little higher on this one for what I'm doing. You've seen me put on ribbon layers like this. This is my preferred way because I just feel that if you put adhesive right where you're putting that ribbon on the front, oftentimes you can see the adhesive, or oftentimes it grabs it in the wrong way, or maybe it's not quite straight, or it creates a wrinkle. This way you don't have to worry about it. And if you want to adjust it, you just pull up the ends from the back and adjust it higher or lower, just like I did there. I'm now going to, by the way, this was, let me think about this a second. This was I believe 5 by 3 3/4. Yes, 5 by 3 3/4. So I made it a different size layer, and I'm adding it to one that measures 5 1/8 by 3 7/8 because I just want a tiny border of white cardstock showing behind it. Do any of you have the blending brushes already? Pretty, just like that, isn't it? Okay, now I'm going to stamp my Let It Snow in Balmy Blue on white cardstock. And again, punch it. This is a 1.5 inch circle. You can use your punches or you can use your layering circle dies. And I'm going to add that right there with some dimensionals. Once again, I'm going to add some Wink of Stella. You could even add the Wink of Stella to the lines of the big snowflakes if you want. That would add some shimmer to them in a different way. It would be time consuming with there being 3. But what I'm going to do instead is use some of our opal rounds. And as you can see, I colored a few for a different project with some Stampin' blends. You can do that. But what I really like about these opal rounds is that they kind of pick up the color in the cards. They come in two sizes in the same package. All right, so there's our second card. What do you think? Cookie says she loves her blending brushes. Wonderful. Janelle has blending brushes. Awesome. Christine, this is Wink of Stella. We sell it in clear, and basically it's a clear glitter brush. I don't know if you can how well you can see it on my hand though, but it just gives a very, very, very light shimmer to your stamping and your paper crafting. So Wink of Stella glitter brush in clear, just a very, very light shimmer. It's really shimmer, even though it's called glitter brush, but it's really shimmer. I don't know how well you can see that on the card itself on the film. All right, so there's our two. Same technique, two different cards, right? Now, I told you that we would be using, and where did it go? We'd be using that one snowflake that we turned with the shiny side down and the matte side up. We did that so the matte side would pick up our ink color, all right? Pulled in that ink. Whereas on the shiny side up, the shiny side resisted the ink. So that's why we did two shiny side up and one shiny side down, so we could pick up that ink. So now I've got a piece of cardstock that measures, and I already forgot, I changed them all a little bit. Yes, 3.5 by 4 3/4. So I went down in size. And what I'm going to do for now is just lay this right here. And I'm going to stamp another sentiment from the Encircled in Warmth stamp set, wishing you love, joy, and happiness this coming year. I really like that sentiment. The thing is, it's a fun Christmas sentiment, but if you're one of those people that sends New Year cards, this is perfect for that. The Wink of Stella, okay, here's a tip on the wink. Well, hold on 1 second. Okay, we're going to continue with this last card, but then I will tell you the tips about the Wink of Stella in, especially when you get it new, okay? I will explain that. All right, so I have this, and I really just laid the snowflake here so I have a good idea of where I wanted to put my sentiment. So now I'm going to add this. I feel like there's a lot of questions coming in, and I promise I will we'll get to those as soon as we get this third card put together. So just like that, super simple, super pretty. This might be a place where I want to add some more of that Wink of Stella. So basically it's like using a paintbrush, and you just paint on a little clear shimmer. Just like that. I'm going to layer this on white because I think that's fun, and that's what I like to do at times, white on white. So the stamped cardstock is 4 3/4 by 3 1/2, and I'm layering it onto 5 by 3 3/4. Yes, 5 by 3 3/4. And now I will add that to my card front. And you can embellish these any which way you like, with ribbons and trims, with bows, rhinestones. You can color rhinestones with your Stampin' blends to match whatever color you're making your cards in. You can also color the opal rounds with your Stampin' blends. So here are our 3 different cards, basically in the order we made them. So number 1, number 2, and number 3. What do you think? Cookie, yes. Isn't that amazing? Every single snowflake in real life is truly different, is truly unique. To me, that's one of those God things, God's creativity, God's nature, shows the creativity and uniqueness. Let me scoot this over. I get too close and then I'm too far or out of the screen. I want you to be able to see them all. All right, so what do you think? Do you love them all? Do you have a favorite? What color would you make these in? Do you have a color that you would choose to make these cards in, other than balmy blue, perhaps? Let me show you. Mary Lou, Janelle, love them all. Pretty cards. Okay, let me show you 3 more cards that I made in a different color. Marion says she loves the blue. Vicky likes the simplicity of the single snowflake. Oh, Night of Navy. Yes. I almost did Misty Moonlight, but Misty Moonlight and Night of Navy are kind of my go-to blues. So I was trying to push myself out of my comfort zone by using the balmy blue. but I like how it turned out as well. But here's another set. Silver, sure. Okay, here's another set I did. The same 3 cards, but a different color. And I used Blushing Bride this time. So that's sort of different too. Using pinks is considered non-traditional for the holidays and even winter. But I think it works really well. And I think it also appeals to many people, all those pink lovers out there. So what do you think? Joan says she loves the pink too. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to give away my 3 Balmy Blue cards. So if you would like to receive one of the 3 Balmy Blue cards, I'm being extra generous today because I've missed the last several Facebook Lives with not feeling well. And I do appreciate you coming back to me to view today's Facebook Live. If you would like to win one of the 3 Balmy Blue cards, please type now in the comments. What should we say? We'll say Balmy Blue. How about if that's our key phrase, Balmy Blue. All right. If you type Balmy Blue in the comments during this live, your name will be entered into the drawing to win one of the Balmy Blue cards. Now I'm going to scoot these out of the way for a moment because I want to answer some questions about, here, I'll pull the stamp set in closer too so you can see that as well. Oh, I should mention, so Encircled in Warmth is in the holiday catalog, our mini holiday catalog. However, it coordinates with the Encircled in Beauty dies from the annual catalog. And the Encircled in Beauty dies from the annual catalog are bundled with the Encircled in Friendship. So I love that Stampin' Up! Gave us a bundle in the annual catalog, but gave us another stamp set that we can use with the same set of dies. And as honestly, this stamp set is what made me buy this bundle, because I figured this way I'm getting more versatility, more use out of my dies if I have a second set. So just wanted to point that out to you. All right, let's talk about Wink of Stella. First of all, when you get it, it comes like this. You just want to open that up. And the thing is, many people do not read the directions, right? Because why? We think it's going to, all we do is pop off the lid and it's going to be perfect. And we're ready to use our Wink of Stella glitter brush. But if you notice on this brand new one, you see this black ring. Okay, here's the one I used, no black ring. So when you get a brand new Wink of Stella, this is what you need to do. You need to take off the top, screw off that top, and take off that plastic ring. And throw that plastic ring away, that black plastic ring. Screw this back on. You're going to pull the top. Okay, so when you open yours all the time from now on, once you've taken off that black ring and thrown it away, and screw the top back on, then you just pull and push the top. To get it started, look for the word push on the 2 sides. Put it between your forefinger and your thumb. And you're just gonna, let me do it on here so you can see better. And you're just kind of gonna push gently, kind of like pumping it. And can you see the ink starting to come from the tube down into the brush chamber? Oops, and once it gets going, now that was a few too many pushes since I was giving an example. And then it's ready to go. And when you use it, you really don't even have to push. Now, obviously, I squeezed out way too much because I was demonstrating. So you just a couple of gentle squeezes and try it out. If you can see the glimmer, coming out, it's ready to use. So a lot of people think when they get theirs that it doesn't work. They can't get anything out. And that's because they skipped over the directions. Okay, you need to unscrew the cap with the cartridge and remove that little black ring. Replace the cap by screwing it back on, and then you point it down, gently squeeze it until the ink starts to flow in the barrel. Okay, yes, this eventually will run out. Okay, it does not last forever. However, you are using this just as an embellishment. Okay, you're using very, very, very small bits on your paper crafts, just like I did today. And I'm trying to think, what did I do? On this one, look, I just swooped across the center and went on some of those snowflake lines. And I'm not even pushing. It comes out by itself. Once you get that ink flowing in the cartridge or in the barrel, it comes out itself. You do not need to push along the way. And then the other two cards, I just simply went over the letters on the Let It Snow sentiment and those tiny snowflakes. And that's it. So you're using very, very little, okay? It's very economically priced. I believe it's $8 still. And it goes a long, long way. And honestly, this is one of those things I just like to have on hand all the time. Sometimes you want to step up your card a little bit, but you want something subtle. And this does that. That gives you the subtle shimmer. All right, I'm going to scroll back through the comments and see if I missed any other questions. I felt like there was another one, but maybe I answered it as I was going through the demonstration. Wow, so many of you on here today. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Katie, you're right on. Everybody needs to know to remove that plastic ring on your Wink of Stella when it's new. Okay. Oh, Wink of Stella. What is Wink of Stella? And I did answer that. All right. Any questions about the products we used today, the cards we made? I also have the Blushing Bride. Janelle says she loves Stella. I know. Isn't it a great thing? I mean, honestly, this $8 for a Wink of Stella, to me, is right up there at the top with spending $10 on my Take Your Pick tool. Who would have thought that that bit of money would go such a long way and make such a big difference in my stamping and crafting? Marion, I'm glad too that you remembered to jump on. All right, ladies, that's all I have for, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for today on this Monday. Once again, thank you for joining me on Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. I will see you Wednesday at 8 p.m., same place. And I look forward to being together with you then. Bye-bye.